The Derek talks about blank with blank.
Podcast, Episode 3, Lovesick. Hello, and welcome to the Derek Talks About Blank with Blank podcast. This is episode 3, and my guest today is Lovesick. Lovesick is a EDM producer and DJ from Central Pennsylvania. He has over 52,000 monthly listeners on Spotify currently, 950 followers on Spotify, and his top song, Falling Into Love, has over 117,000 plays on Soundcloud, and it just broke the 3 million streaks mark over on Spotify. So congrats, man, on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a really big achievement.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that one.
Yeah. So let's get right into the questions. Let's start off with the Gen Qs.
Right.
Number 1, what other artists or groups are your biggest inspirations?
I actually have a lot. But like my main ones I'd say are, so for my sound design, there's this artist Minesweeper. He just has an excellent, very percussive sound design, but I really like the way it sounds. And then just like also for just like the melodic elements and like sort of kind of a cinematic feel to my songs. Like John Bellion, like I try and make, I listen to his songs a lot, and it kind of just like, I don't know, it resonates with me the way he makes songs. So I try to also like, bring in some melodic kind of pop elements into my songs as well.
Yeah. Do you ever find a deeper connection to one of the songs you make, but then another song that you weren't expecting to get popular gets popular?
I mean, I like Falling Into Love was probably like the deepest song that I've had. Like that's the one that kind of like connected with me the most. And I really did not expect that to get popular at all. It actually like was one of my least, like I spent the least amount of time on that song overall, like than any of my songs. So that was weird. But other than that, like I mean, it might sound like bad, but like my other songs, I kind of just do it for fun, like I kind of sit down and I just have so much fun sound designing and like making up like new like rhythms and stuff like that. It's not really like an emotional deep connection. It's just like, oh, I'm really glad that sounded good.
Yeah. I can get that. It's just like, I just want a slapper of a song.
Yeah, that's pretty much
all I want.
A lot of the time it's like, I know that's going to make someone happy. Like I know someone's going to be rocking this in their car. So that, I mean, that I feel really happy for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, favorite artists or groups at the moment?
Again, the boy Minesweeper. He's an absolute god. More Kismet. There's this French producer, Kylie. Like he's absolutely amazing at future bass. Just artists like that. Party Pupils. That's where I get my funk side from. I listen to their songs all the time. They're definitely amazing. Yeah, there's a bunch of different inspirations from all different genres.
Yeah, I love how you're just saying all these names and I'm just like shaking my head like I know these people, but honestly, I've never heard of like any of them.
Yeah, I mean they're all very EDM community guys. I mean, they're just super, you'll see them at like not like huge festivals like EDC or anything. You'll see them at like, small nightclubs and stuff like that, but they're definitely like, amazing artists.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, of the EDM artists I listen to, you're like one of the few, because I listen to like you, Autograph. I used to listen to Avicii a good amount, and I listen to one song by Zed, which is Candyman, which features Aloe Black, because I love Aloe Black.
That's actually one of the songs that got me into EDM. Like,
really?
Like,
wow.
After I listened to Candyman, that was like legitimately the first song where I was like, oh, I have to learn how to make this. Because like I listened to it probably every day for a straight year. Like as soon as I found it, I actually found it on an ad. Just a whole year, I listened to it every single day. Such a good song.
Wow, it is such a good song. Just the way that just even the simple thing of just the way Zed uses dynamics in that song, it's like crazy powerful.
It's really interesting too. Like just combining sort of like the pop feel with the future bass feel. I think that was like one of the main songs that like brought kind of that like future bass mixed with pop together, because now you're starting I feel like you're starting to hear more of that kind of sound in even like popular music right now.
Yeah.
So like even his live performances, instead of using like synthesizers and stuff, he uses like trumpets and stuff. I think that's really cool, like strings and trumpets to mimic what an EDM, like synth would sound like. I really like, I want to try that someday.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into my questions. So, number one, a lot of your music contains memes. Some examples of this are Peach Jam, Hole Up, and your Uh-Oh Stinky Lovesick flip. What do you think drew you to including memes into your music? And for the audience that doesn't know what memes are, which is basically my mom and other older generation people, memes are basically just these viral things from the internet that are funny. They can be a picture with words on it. They can be a small video. But I mean, for example, I think it's Peach Jam is just like a treasure trove of vines. It's like so many vines.
That's essentially what it was. Like that's how the idea came about. Like I was like, how many like vines could I fit into one song? So I mean, and I was really happy with how that came out, because I mean it was funny. I got a lot of good reactions after I showed it to people.
Yeah.
So why do I include them in my songs?
Yeah. Like what makes them slappable to you?
I just think that like it's something like I mean I consider myself, at the risk of sounding too humble, I think that I think that I'm a really funny guy. So like I always try and figure out like how can I combine like two of the things I love, which is comedy and music, and then as much as I can, if there's like a drop coming up and I can sneak in like a little, with a fill, like a rhythmic meme. I mean, I feel like you get that, like, it's almost upon that release of the drop where it's like, oh, you're laughing and also headbanging at the same time. So it's like, oh, did he just sneak that in there? And then you're like, ooh. So I just kind of the reason I include them is mostly just for, combining those two mediums together. Yeah.
Okay, number 2. What was it like using brass and strings for the first time in your song Saturn's Rings, which is my personal favorite song that you've made so far?
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, that one was cool. It was weird. I mean, I obviously didn't use I'm not like a brass or string player, but there was a synthesizer that had like actual, like an orchestral sounding brass and strings section. So I tried to make it really intricate, like combining. I tried to do more of an orchestral feel, because actually the original project file was way slower. So I was able to like make things, very intricate. And I feel like it was really cool, especially like after listening to it. It just, there's so much going on, but it sounds like complete. It sounds like pretty satisfying to listen to. And I mean, again, the inspiration for that song was, can I start off a song being like an orchestral piece and then turning that into future bass? So it was definitely an interesting, that one took me like a couple days to finish, but
I remember you having me listen to that the first time in college, and I was like, this is like so different from the rest of your stuff, but I love it.
Yeah.
I was like,
It
Yeah.
was definitely one of my favorite. It was fun to create though. It was just
Yeah.
after I was done with it, I'm like, all right, I'm done listening to this song for at least a few months.
Okay, number 3. I hear in some of your songs that you use loops, whether those are drum loops or different other sounds that are looped.
Mhm.
Do you use stock loops in FL Studios, which is your DAW, which is, for the people who don't know what a DAW is, that's the shortening for a digital audio workstation. That's what producers use to make music. So do you use stock loops, or do you make all of your own loops? And also, for the audience that doesn't know what loops are, let me just give you an example, just like some simple beats. So let's say you want this simple beat to go like 4 times, and it's just like, and you want that to go 4 times. Well, you just have that, you just drag it over, and then that gets done 4 different times. And then you can also mess with loops by doing something like something like that. Like have a gap in there where there's stuff like that. So that's for the audience that doesn't know what loops are.
Yeah.
But do you make your own loops? Do you use stock loops? Like what?
So it's kind of like a mix of both. So I use Splice, which is just it's a website where you can get royalty-free sounds. I consider myself a very sample-based producer. So what I'll do most of the time is I'll either use a full loop and transpose it into like a different key, and then I'll use that. But the only time I use like a loop that I don't edit is like it's to enhance the rhythm a little bit more. I don't, like it's not the main focus, but in the context of the beat, it just brings out it, it brings it out so much more. But like as far as like putting it as like my main lead or like my main like percussive element, I'll actually chop it up. Like I'll take the loop and then I'll chop, like I'll just listen to it probably what seems to be like 600,000 times, chop it up, and then like kind of relocate the beat a little bit to suit like what I want, and then use different plugins like sidechain and stuff like that to kind of, I mean it is a loop, but I change it completely around, and then I will consolidate that track and then make it a new loop, and then from there I can change the pitch, I can change all that. So I mean it really depends on like where I put it. Yeah. Or like I'll grab a loop and I can actually just take one, like I hear one sound in that loop and then I take that and use it as like, a pluck or like a, some sort of melodic element. Yeah.
Okay. 4. On SoundCloud, and also, if you don't know Lovesick that well, he actually, well, I would consider you more of a SoundCloud artist than a other streaming service artist, because the thing is, you have more songs released on SoundCloud than you do on things like Spotify or Apple Music, because the one thing that you do release on SoundCloud that you aren't technically allowed to release on other streaming services is you do these flips or remixes, so to say. And on SoundCloud, you have a remix of Childish Gambino's song "This Is America." Now, I remember during the school year when you started that flip, and when you first had me hear the beginning of it back then, I had more of a, or it had more of a percussion-heavy experimental hip-hop vibe going on.
Yeah.
Then about a month later, I asked you how it was going with that song, and you said that it fell through, and I was a little sad and heartbroken because I love that song. And then when you finally released the song this summer, the song just sounded completely different. And on SoundCloud, you labeled the genre of the song as hybrid trap. What made you go back to the song and try it again at a completely different angle?
So the first thing is when I started it, that was kind of the intro. I hadn't figured out the drop at all. I just kind of like laid out the intro, and that was that percussive heavy element was just me trying to spice up the intro a little bit. But then I don't know why I decided I just didn't like, I don't know, I didn't like it anymore. Maybe it was because I listened to it so many times but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just trashed the beat. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna move on to my next project. So I deleted the project file, and then that's when I told you it fell through. And then, obviously quarantine hit this summer, so I was just looking for anything to remix. So I was, searching for acapellas, and then I stumbled upon This Is America, and then I don't know, I just had this like amazing, like I could hear what I wanted in my head, so then I just laid it out, and then, I mean, the complete change basically just came from I wanted the intro to be super short and the drop to just be to continue on from when it hit to the end of the song. Because if you listen to the song, once the drop hits, it really doesn't stop, other than for like a 2-bar rest. So that was basically like, my inspiration for that. Just I almost used the acapella just as a beat starter. And then yeah, I mean, hybrid trap is just I mean, I guess it's my main genre right now. Just that very 808 heavy, 80,
Yeah.
808 heavy songs with, a lot of different like metallic sounds, and you'll hear that in the song as well.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you haven't heard a lot of his remixes, go listen to his remixes on SoundCloud. There's a lot of great ones out there. Honestly, I think my personal favorite is your Bad Guy flip, because I'm not the biggest fan of the original song, but your flip is really interesting. It like mixes up the song real well.
Yeah, I was really happy with that one. When I was listening to it, I mean, there was multiple times where that's when I really like surprised myself. And then I kind of broke in, because I mean, if you listen to most of my songs after that, they have that, they're super heavy, and they have that very metallic kind of industrial vibe to it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as being industrial.
Mm.
Okay. Next question. Who does your artwork, and what is the process in picking all of the designs? And I know that like your main kind of, I guess, like image logo, the one that you like, the one that's like on Conversations or kind of like stuff like that, that was done by another artist. But
Yeah.
I'm talking more about like Peach Jam, Small Beef, all the ones with a pink background on them. Are those all you, or?
Yep. Those are all me. I'd say that my second favorite like art form is definitely like graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff that I do is kind of, I mean, it's pretty simple. So, I mean, obviously, shout out to Mia Shaler. She made that my profile pic, like the one with me with the, the cartoon one. She's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It looks so much like you. It's not even funny.
Dude, she's so good. I mean, she's amazing at what she does. But as far as the stuff that I use right now, I actually just do it on my phone. as bad as that sounds, I'll just go on to so like if I go onto the internet, I'll find the album cover, and then you can just crop out the image, and then basically after that I just pick out the color palette, and then I'll just kind of I mean, it's this it's called PixArt. It has like these just royalty free stickers. You can use them on anything. So I kind of just I set them all up, change the color palette around on them too, and then I'll just do a few basic editing things, just blurring the image a little bit. That's why you can see on most of my stuff everything kind of seems like melded together. Just do that. Yeah, I mean, it's all me, but it's a pretty simple, like I guess design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, so a lot of the other ones, not your remixes, but the other ones that just have the pink background, I see that a lot of them have like an anime girl kind of vibe going on it. Is there like something that like I mean, I know that like the lo-fi hip hop girl, anime girl, that thing, I know that that's quite popular in the lo-fi community. Is there just something about like the anime look or the manga look that like really attracts you to putting that on some of those single covers?
It's really just the aesthetic, Like I just love the like. I mean, I just look up, copyright, non-copyrighted images,
Hmm.
and then I don't know what it is about it. It's so nice to look at, and it's so like I feel like it's just the vibe that I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really nice to look at.
Hmm. How
And
about
then, yeah, you're good.
No, you go on. You go on. Yeah.
Yeah, so just like as far as and then you put all the other designs around them, and it just kind of it just becomes something completely different.
Yeah. How about for Saturn's rings though? Because that's honestly like one of your. I mean, it's one of your most different designs. How about if we say that? It's very like, oh, I'm an actual painter and I actually painted this kind of. It doesn't seem like something that digital would do.
Yeah,
I mean, you could probably do that on digital, but it was just like
that wasn't really just. I was just getting into like the like trying to do my own designs there, so then I just looked up like royalty free image of Saturn, and then you can basically just do this thing. It's called like color gradient. You can just separate the colors out. So then I just picked that color scheme, and then just blurred the image a little bit, and that was just kind of a simple design. I didn't know what else to put for that. Obviously Saturn's rings. I just needed a picture of Saturn. Yeah.
okay. What is your second SoundCloud account and second Instagram account, Young Hearing Aid, all about? Because I mean, it looks like some of the stuff that you, from what I looked at today, it looked like on your Young Hearing Aid, spelled YUNG. It looks like there's like certain things that you posted on your Lovesick SoundCloud account, but then you moved it over to your Young Hearing Aid account.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's with that?
It's just it's just where I put my kind of mess around projects, stuff that I'm not quite like they're good, but nothing that I want on my main account.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just started Young Hearing Aid because I think that the name Young Hearing Aid is very funny.
Yeah,
just
honestly.
because I'm but so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically just like a secondary channel to where like if I make a beat but I don't necessarily want to finish it, I can just put it on there, and then people can still listen to it. I just it's just not my main focus.
Yeah. Honestly, I think one of my favorite tracks on that second account, other than your Uh-Oh Stinky Lovesick flip, which is honestly like that's such a good song. I don't know why that's on your second account. I love that song.
I might actually move that one back over. I just
Yeah.
figured that it was pretty dumb. Just the name.
because-
Uh-Oh Stinky.
Just because the meme's dead.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, I'm gonna take it off my main.
Yeah.
No, but that's like one of my favorites. But I think my like second favorite is the one that you did. What is it? It's the one Jackson 5 remix that you did. Yeah, I Want You Back. That's really hard hitting. I love that thing.
I actually made that when I was like probably like a year into producing.
Nice.
I don't know why. I just I've been thinking of moving some of the songs I put on Young Hearing Aid back over to my main account, and I definitely like was pondering putting I Want You Back on there. I just wasn't sure if it like made the cut because I mean my sounds. I'm getting a bit more professional sounding. I'm getting my mixes are sounding more clean and stuff like that. I just didn't really know how much I Want You Back sounded like my standards right now. But after I think I'll actually go back after this, and I think I'll have to listen to it again because a lot of people have been saying that I Want You Back is one of their favorite songs by me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the fan questions. So fan question number 1 is from @RebeccaRichard7 on Instagram. And she said, what's next for Lovesick? And to go along with that, I would like to ask, are you coming out with an album anytime soon, or Is album like a no, yes, I don't know?
Album, I don't see myself making an album anytime soon.
Uh,
Like when I feel like I'll make my first album when, I'm completely comfortable with my, you know, I kind of have a good handle on all my genres,
mm-hmm,
because I definitely have multiple genres. And then, once I get my mixes a little bit more clean, once I get that little bit more of a professional sound, then I can think of, maybe possible collabs with people, and just kind of like telling a story almost, because I feel like
mm-hmm,
with an album I definitely want to tell some sort of like, progression, some sort of story with it. um so that'll probably be like, a year or two off, that sort of thing.
yeah,
um I mean, maybe some EPs, every now and again.
yeah,
But as far as what's next for me, I've really just been trying to make as many songs before summer ends. And then I'm going to try, like, hopefully once we get back into college, I'm really going to start looking, to see if I can collab with other artists, because I haven't really done much of that. It's
mm-hmm,
always been me, but
yeah,
I definitely want to start, like, you know, I want to get creative with people. I want to see what
mm-hmm,
what two minds can do with, a song. Because
yeah,
I definitely one of my main focuses is like, how can I best combine genres to make it sound like, not necessarily a new genre, but just like, something that can get many ears and be like, oh, this is a slammer.
yep,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, that's pretty much next for me. I don't really have any like big project plans, just kind of, putting out some more, just increasing my skills basically.
yeah. I totally understand that. And then finally, the last segment of my mom has a question for you. Yep,
Awesome.
because that is going to be a continuing segment from now on.
We love that.
Uh, yeah. She asks she says that one of her favorite songs is your "Uh-Oh Stinky Lovesick" flip. It made her smile and laugh a bit.
Classic.
What was the process coming up with the song? And she was like specifically pointing at the rhythm or the
Mhm.
beats, because
Yeah.
it's got like a really interesting rhythm to it.
Mhm. Uh, I mean, it was probably like my dumbest process to date, because I was just on Instagram one day, and every single like meme on my feed was just "Uh-oh Stinky." So I was like, how can I make this into like a really aesthetic, like romantic type beat? Because, it's in D major. It's like a very nice, like, romantic feel to it. For some reason I always feel like it's like super aesthetic when I listen to it. So I mean that was my process. I literally just was like, I'm gonna flip "Uh-oh Stinky." It'll be funny and it'll be good. And then my rhythm process, it was very jazzy to me. And then like kind of
Yeah.
like that Latin feel, like in the second part, like
Mm-hmm.
the beginning drums are very like straightforward. But
Yeah.
then in that second, like that was the intro. And then like once the verse, kind of like the verse section, I guess, that kind of got that Latin feel to it. And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought that would go really good with the beat, that like with the melodic plucks that I had, and also with the vocals. And the vocals were also, just like to clarify, that was someone made like an stinky meme song. So I just grabbed that, and then grabbed the first 4 bars of that song, pitched it up a little bit, and then just kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, the rhythm was just, I thought the Latin feel would go well. And then, as you can hear in the drop, the the melody is kind of just that's almost part of the drums to me. Like it complements each other so well. That kind of
Yeah.
just happened. I didn't really think anything through that. That kind of just, I was just laying out a beat, and then I was like, "Oh, this would sound good with it." Then you get that
Yeah.
like da 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 da. So it's just, yeah. But that was that was a really stupid process for me. I was like, I'm just gonna flip this meme.
Yeah. And what was like? This is just like my personal question for that, but in that song you have like these like fake steel pan drums.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, were you just like, hey, I'll just throw in this and it sounds like steel drums, or were you like
No,
was it just like I need something happy and joyful sounding, or like?
no, actually, this is so. I found out as I was making it, like I made the melody. I was going through like a lo-fi phase at that point. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was, I was listening to lo-fi constantly. So my melody actually sounds. It's not the exact same, but it's very similar to Medicine's Daydream.
Mm-hmm.
So subconsciously, I had that in my head. But in that song, I really loved his use of steel pans and mallets.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that, especially because I had like this, I had a pluck I made in Serum, which is a synthesizer. It was like a nice pluck, but then I was like, this would sound really good with something kind of harsh, but also melodic at the same time. So I was going through my samples and I found a steel pan, and then I copied my MIDI track, which is I don't know if I need to explain that, but it's like you write out your melody in MIDI as opposed to playing it with like an actual piano. I copied that out and then pasted it into my steel pan rack, and then it just, when it came together, it sounded so nice. So I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that's like one of my other favorite songs, just because of that steel pan. It's just super happy sounding.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how it like complemented everything in the beat. It just sounded really nice. Again, percussive yet melodic. I think that's a lot. That's a theme where you see in a lot of my songs. I like the percussive elements a lot.
Okay, and then I just have one more question for you. Just of personal. So you kind of have like this iconic sound that you put in basically every one of your songs. It's kind of like this, like that kind of like just really kind of in a way drony, but also very vibraty sound that you do in like basically all of your drops, almost.
Is it the 808 you're talking about?
I don't think it's the 808. It's
Is it distorted? Because I think I know what you're talking about.
It's 1 sec. Let me get to it.
Yes. Sorry about that. I think it's just.
It's fine. Yeah. Okay, let's go here. Where is it? 1 sec. Right here. Saturn Strings. Yeah, those kind of like electronically, like kind of stringish synth sound, like that happens in like almost all of your songs. Is that like, did you just decide to do that, or do you just love that sound that you want to put in like a bunch of your songs? Or
that's kind of just the future bass. It's a detuned synth. Like it's kind of like the future bass staple. I don't know. It fills up the sound, the soundscape very nicely, but also it leaves a lot of room for, like those trap drums. I don't know. I really love that sound. It just, it drives the beat, but it also, it's like sharp yet, very full. So, it's definitely one of my favorite sounds.
Yeah, I can hear it. Okay. So those are all the questions that I have for you. Right. And I hear that you have a question for me, which is also going to be a reoccurring segment. the guest is just going to ask me one question because, Hunter
Love that.
suggested it.
Yeah, of course, it's a great idea. But so my main question to everybody, pretty much, but especially to you, is: has quarantine been like more productive, or have you been like, I'm just kind of gonna vibe out a little bit, just taking the the nothingness that's going on right now?
Yeah, I think at the start of quarantine, like after college had ended, I was like not feeling like doing any work really, especially in like
completely understand that.
the entire month of May. After school was done, I was just like, I am out. I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah. Of course,
and
yeah.
then of course June was for me was just like June was a little bit of an interesting month for me. I think it was a little odd, I guess, but I think towards the end of June, I started to. I don't know. June was just a really odd month.
Yeah.
And then July's been a great month for music, honestly. Like of all the releases that have come out in July, it's kind of crazy. I mean, Leon Lahavas just came out with their new album, and I mean it's absolutely legendary. And I love it.
We love that.
Yep. And I mean there's like so many other people just like releasing a bunch of music. My album got released this month. Hunter McNally's album got released this month. It's just like this month has been great with music. Yeah. And then I've also, as I just released a new track out, not like in everywhere, just on like my Instagram account and on YouTube, a new track. And I also had created 2 other tracks before that. And it definitely has more of a hip hop feel. Yeah. I think part of that is, especially during quarantine, a heavy amount of what I've been listening to has been hip hop. Yeah. Because I've been really, really getting into it, whether that was Childish Gambino or Chance the Rapper. I've just been like, or Pell. I've just been really, really getting into hip hop. And so I've just been, so of course, the thing that I'm going to want to create is hip hop because it's just like that's what I've been listening to. So
it's kind of like a mix of like kind of like productive yet sort of like there's nothing to do.
Yeah. Honestly, I do want to create more, but I've also been working 2 part-time jobs, so that makes it
of course,
a little bit difficult. I mean the podcast isn't that hard for me. It's the first episode, trying to do the editing of the audio and especially the video, that took like forever to figure out how to do. Not as much the audio, but especially the video. Like I think it took me like 3 hours just to figure out how to put the video together. Because it was the first time, and I was using I'm using Resolve for it, which is like a free, like really, really, it's like kind of in the higher end of free video editors, and it's a very steep climb to learn. So I'm just like looking at it, just like boggled in my mind, and I'm just like, what am I doing? So it took me like so many hours. And then for the second episode, when I made that video, it took like an hour maybe. I was like this, or maybe even 30 minutes. It took such a less amount of time because I had done it before. So
yeah, I'm really happy you decided to do this, man. I mean, it's
actually,
really
shout out to you because since the audience obviously doesn't know this, Lovesik's been helping me out with the podcast in terms of he's really guided me through what I wanted, like what I should have it be, like how the format was going to be, what kind of things I wanted during it. And I mean, with the podcast just being like a chill interview, just like, hey, I got some questions. Let's get these fan questions to the artist. It's just like, hey, let's just have a fun time. Let's let it not be, let it be something enjoyable compared to like, or something to like ease our mind compared to like the 24/7 news blast of coronavirus and racism across our country. It's just like let's just chill out. Let's just talk about music. or art and things like that, and let's just have a good time.
Yeah, it's a
And I
fantastic vibe.
Yeah, I also don't want to like grill for the people who are listening who don't know this. I actually send the questions that I ask the guests like an hour beforehand, just to make sure that they're fine with the questions that I'm asking, because honestly, I don't want to catch them off guard.
Yeah,
because it's just the nicer thing to do.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's kept me busy. Yeah. Yeah. And you've just been creating music, so
yeah, I've just been like grinding like every day.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a moment where I was like, I could probably hit like one solid beat a day and release it, but then 3 days into it, I was like, all right, maybe I bit off a little bit more than I can chew there.
Yeah, I was planning so much stuff to do this summer.
Hard,
like
dude. It's hard. It's hard to keep that
to keep motivated.
Mindset. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how Andrew Huang does it. He's just creating music every day, just every day.
Dude, some people just have that absolute animal drive to do I don't know, man. It's just I'm trying to get to that point, but yeah.
I mean, I want to get to that point as well. It's just those guys just have an unending flow of just passion for music. That's
yeah, they're just
sometimes it just seems too. It just seems like it's crazy. Honestly. Yeah. But hopefully I'll be coming out with because I know I've talked to you about this and a few other people about this. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the year, maybe start of next year, I'll be coming out with a hip hop EP called Cat, K.A.T. And it'll have the songs that I've currently released, the 3 songs on my YouTube, which are Cat, Glitch, and Lazuli, which Lazuli is a Steven Universe inspired song, because I love that show.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that.
Yeah. It's very different from the other 2.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, man, for being on this.
Man.
It was a pleasure having you on.
Dude, of course.
Yeah.
Anytime, bro.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time in episode 4.